The girls were eating breakfast when the doorbell rang. Even after 10 years, they still sat in the same spots. Emily by the window, Sarah closer to the kitchen. Some habits never change, even when everything else does. I knew who it was before I opened the door. After a decade of silence, my son David had suddenly resurfaced 3 days ago. His carefully worded email reading more like a legal document than a message from a son to his mother. Mom, he stood on my porch, looking both familiar and foreign. At 42, he had gained weight, lost hair, and acquired an expensive watch that probably cost more than my monthly pension. Behind him stood a woman in her early 30s, Jennifer, his new wife, according to the email, and 2 children around 7 or 8. The perfect nuclear family, except for the twins he had abandoned a decade ago. David. I didn't step aside to let them in. You're early. We thought, maybe we could all have breakfast together. Jennifer stepped forward, her smile professionally whitened. Get to know each other before you try to take my granddaughters? The words came out sharper than I intended, but 10 years of anger doesn't soften easily. They're my daughters, David said quietly. I have rights. Rights? I laughed, though nothing was funny. Where were those rights when they had chickenpox at 5? Or when Sarah broke her arm in gymnastics? Or during every birthday, Christmas, and school play for the past 10 years? I wasn't in a good place then, you know that. No, I don't know that. Because you never called, never wrote, never sent so much as a birthday card. The sound of chairs scraping against kitchen tile made us all turn. Emily and Sarah stood in the hallway, their 14-year-old faces showing nothing of the confused 4-year-olds they had been when their father walked away. The girls from your pictures, Jennifer said brightly. I'm Jennifer, and these are Tommy and Lisa. Where? We know who you are, Emily cut in, her voice eerily calm. We got the email too. David stepped forward. Emily, Sarah, you've grown so much. That's what happens in 10 years, Sarah replied. She turned to me. Grandma, we'll be late for swim practice. Practice isn't until 11, David said, checking his watch. You don't know our schedule, Emily said. You don't know anything about us. The twins grabbed their backpacks, moving with the synchronized grace they had developed over years of competitive swimming. They brushed past their father without a glance, though Sarah paused beside me. We won't be long, Grandma. Don't let them touch our stuff. I watched them walk down the driveway, back straight, heads high. They had learned early that showing weakness only makes the pain worse. They hate me, David whispered. They don't hate you, I corrected. They just don't know you. There's a difference. That's why we're here, Jennifer interjected. To fix things, to be a family. They have a family. I finally stepped aside, letting them enter. But come in. We should talk about exactly what you think you're going to fix. The kitchen still showed signs of breakfast, 2 bowls of half-eaten cereal, training schedules magnetized to the fridge, a wall calendar marked with swim meets and academic competitions. Sit. I gestured to the table. Tommy, Lisa, there's cereal in the pantry if you're hungry. David's new children looked to their mother, who nodded permission. They moved cautiously, like visitors in a museum. Our lawyer says, David began. Your lawyer can wait. I pulled out Emily's latest report card, Sarah's medical records, thick folders documenting every day of the life he had missed. First, you're going to learn about the daughters you abandoned. I didn't abandon them. I just needed time. Time. I slapped down a photo album. Here's how they spent their time. Emily's first swim medal. Sarah's broken arm. Both of them crying on their 5th birthday because you didn't show up. Again. Jennifer reached for the album. We want to make it right. By tearing them away from their home. Their school. Their friends and activities. I shook my head. They're not toys you can reclaim from storage. They're my children, David insisted. No, I met his eyes. They were your children. Now they're my girls, and I won't let you hurt them again. The courts. The courts will see 10 years of documented abandonment. They'll see school records showing who attended every parent-teacher conference, medical records showing who made every decision, photos showing who was there for every milestone. I'm their father. Biology isn't enough. I pushed away from the table. When Emily had pneumonia at 6, where were you? When Sarah was bullied in 5th grade, who handled it? When they both qualified for nationals in swimming, who cheered from the stands. The silence was heavy with unspoken accusations. Through the window, I could see Tommy and Lisa in the backyard, staring at the wall of swimming trophies through the glass door. "We have a beautiful home in Seattle," Jennifer offered. "Private schools, swimming coaches. They already have those things. They have lives, friends, dreams that don't include playing happy family with strangers." "We're not strangers," David protested. "I'm their father." "Then prove it." I stood up. "Prove you deserve that title. Because right now, all you've proven is that you know how to walk away." The sound of a car door made us all turn. Through the window, I saw the twins getting into their coach's car, an hour early for practice, but I understood their escape. "They won't even talk to me," David said softly. "Talk?" I laughed again, bitter and sharp. 10 years of silence, and now you want to talk? They learn from you, David. They learned that some people leave without goodbye, that love comes with conditions, that fathers are optional. That's not fair. No, it wasn't fair. None of it was fair. But we built something from that unfairness, a life, a family, a future that doesn't depend on unreliable people. Jennifer touched David's arm. "Maybe we should go, come back when everyone's calmer." Running away again. I couldn't resist the dig. "At least you're consistent." They gathered their children, made awkward goodbyes, promised to return. I watched them drive away in their expensive SUV, back to their perfect new life that didn't have room for old mistakes. But they had forgotten something crucial. My girls weren't mistakes to be corrected. They were survivors who had learned to thrive without him. And I would fight with everything I had to protect the life we had built from the ashes of his abandonment. The lawyer's office was deliberately intimidating, all gleaming mahogany and leather-bound books. David sat across the conference table, Jennifer beside him, both wearing expressions of practiced concern. "The courts generally favor biological parents," their lawyer said, sliding documents across the polished surface, "especially when they can provide a stable two-parent household." I watched my own attorney, a sharp-eyed woman who'd been a swimming mom alongside me for years, examine the papers. She'd taken our case at a reduced rate, remembering how Emily and Sarah had taught her daughter to perfect her butterfly stroke. "The courts also consider the children's established environment," she replied, opening her own file. "Academic records, extracurricular achievements, community ties. Not to mention their clearly expressed preferences." "They're 14, David interjected. "They don't understand what's best for them." "No." I pulled out my phone and scrolled to a video from last week's swim meet. This is Sarah breaking the state record in the 200-meter freestyle. And here's Emily's speech at the science fair last month. She won first place, by the way. "That's wonderful," Jennifer said warmly. "They'll have even better opportunities in Seattle, the private school we've chosen." "They already attend the top-ranked school in the district," my lawyer interrupted. "They're both on track for early college admission. Emily's already being scouted by Stanford's swim team." David shifted uncomfortably. "We can maintain their swimming schedule." "Can you?" I spread out their training calendar. 5 AM practices, weekend meets, summer training camps. "Are you ready to build your life around their dreams the way we have for the past decade?" "We're their parents," Jennifer insisted. "We want what's best for them." "You're strangers who share DNA with my girls," I corrected. "You don't know their favorite foods, their fears, their hopes. You don't know that Sarah sleepwalks during finals week, or that Emily needs her lucky goggles before every race." The lawyers exchanged glances as tension filled the room. David's attorney cleared his throat. "Mrs. Jong, no one is questioning your dedication. But legally." "Legally?" I pulled out another folder. Here are 10 years of documented abandonment, birthday cards returned unopened, child support checks that bounced, school forms with my signature because their father was unreachable. "I had issues then," David protested. "I've changed." "Convenient timing," my lawyer noted, "just after the twins' trust fund from their maternal grandmother matures next year." The room went silent. Jennifer's perfectly maintained smile slipped slightly. "That's not," David started. "Not why you're suddenly interested. Then explain why your first email mentioned their trust fund before asking about their well-being." More papers appeared, bank statements, investment reports, the carefully managed inheritance their maternal grandmother had left before passing away. I'd never touched a penny, saving it all for their future. "The girls need their father," Jennifer tried again. No, I stood up, gathering my evidence of a decade's devotion. They needed their father 10 years ago when they cried themselves to sleep asking why daddy didn't want them. They needed him when they won their first medals, when they lost their first teeth, when they learned to read and write and dream. I faced my son, seeing not the successful businessman he'd become, but the coward who'd walked away from his responsibilities. You don't get to abandon your children for a decade and then claim parental rights when it's convenient. They're not accessories to complete your new perfect family picture. Mom. Save it. I headed for the door. The girls have a meet this weekend. Their real family will be there. Their coaches, their teammates, their friends. The people who chose to stay when you chose to leave. We'll see you in court, his lawyer called after me. Yes, I turned back one last time. You will. And you'll see exactly what family means to those girls. It means showing up every day, not just when it suits you. Outside, the twins waited in my old Honda, the one I'd kept running all these years because college funds mattered more than car payments. How did it go? Emily asked as I got in. About as expected. I started the engine. They're going to fight. Sarah squeezed my shoulder from the back seat. So will we, Grandma. We're better at it. We learn from you. Driving home, I watched them in the rearview mirror, these beautiful, strong girls who'd grown from abandoned toddlers into confident young women. David might share their DNA, but I shared their lives, their struggles, their triumphs. No court in the world could sever that bond because it wasn't built on biology or legal documents but on thousands of small moments of love, trust, and unwavering presence. Sometimes the strongest families are the ones that choose each other every single day. We have been choosing each other for 10 years, through tears and laughter, victories and defeats, always together, always certain of our place in each other's hearts. Let them come with their lawyers and their claims. We had something stronger than legal rights, love tested by time and strengthened by adversity, and that was worth fighting for. The courthouse steps were crowded with familiar faces, swim team families, teachers, coaches, and neighbors. All the people who had helped raise 2 abandoned little girls into strong young women. Your Honor, David's lawyer began. My client has reformed his life and created a stable home. May I speak? Emily stood, her voice steady. The judge nodded. 10 years ago, our father left us for a few days. We waited by the window every afternoon for months. Grandma never said he wasn't coming back. She just held us when we cried and taught us to be strong. Sarah joined her sister. She worked 2 jobs to keep us in swim training. She learned to French braid our hair for competitions, taught herself to cook healthy meals for athletes, and never missed a single meet. Objection, David's lawyer interrupted. This is emotional manipulation. No, the judge said firmly. This is relevant testimony about their primary caregiver and established environment. The twins continued, trading words like they traded laps in the pool. When I had nightmares, Emily said it was Grandma who sat up with me. When I failed math, Sarah added, she hired a tutor instead of buying herself new clothes. She taught us that family isn't about who shares your DNA. It's about who shares your life. David sat slumped in his chair, Jennifer's hand on his arm, his perfect new family watching his old one slip away. The judge reviewed the documentation, years of school records, medical files, competition results. She studied the photos of birthday parties, holidays, and everyday moments that painted a picture of real family life. Mr. Zhang, she finally said, what's your daughter's favorite color? He blinked. Blue. Emily likes green, Sarah corrected. I'm the one who likes blue. Their best events in swimming. They swim competitively. The judge turned to me. Mrs. Zhang. Emily holds the state record in butterfly, but she's working on her backstroke for college scouts. Sarah's freestyle time is nationally ranked for her age group, and she's teaching younger kids at the community pool. More questions followed. Favorite subjects, friends' names, medical histories. With each answer, David's face fell further, reality settling in like chlorine at the bottom of a pool. The court finds, the judge announced, that the stable and nurturing environment provided by Mrs. Zhang is in the best interest of the minors. Custody will remain with their grandmother. Relief flooded the courtroom. Coach Martinez wiped away tears. Emily's science teacher pumped his fists. Sarah's best friend hugged her mother. However, the judge continued, Mr. Zhang may petition for supervised visitation after completing parenting classes and family counseling. Outside, David caught up to us. Mom, girls, please. We have practice, Emily said quietly. I could come watch sometime. Sarah studied him. Practices start at 5 a.m. Meets are usually all weekend. You'll have to earn your spot in the bleachers, just like Grandma did. They walked away, matching swim bags over their shoulders, leaving their father to decide if he was finally ready to do the hard work of being a parent. They're amazing, Jennifer said softly beside me. You did an incredible job. Yes, I agreed. I did. And if you both want to be part of their lives, you'll have to accept that. I'm not just their grandmother. I'm the mother they needed when their parents couldn't be. That evening, we celebrated with pizza, a rare treat during competition season. The girls curled up beside me on our worn couch, comfortable in their chlorine-scented hoodies. Think he'll actually show up to practice? Sarah wondered. Maybe, I said. But it doesn't matter. We're a family, not because we have to be, but because we choose to be. Every single day. Emily yawned. Like you chose us. No, I kissed their foreheads. Like we chose each other. Because sometimes the best families aren't born. They're built, one early morning practice, one homework session, one hug at a time. And ours was built on a foundation strong enough to withstand any storm, including the return of a father who had to learn that love isn't about rights or DNA or legal claims. It's about showing up, staying present, and choosing each other every single day for 10 years and counting. That's what makes a real family, and that's what we would always be.